Happy Thursday, Adam Barth.
Eric, it's not Thursday. It's Wednesday.
That's right. Well, happy almost Thursday.
Happy almost Thursday to you as well.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a week it's been. I've been on vacation. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too. I've been. We went on a hike with the family today. We went up to this top of this hill and got a great view of the bay, San Francisco Bay, and
Nice.
yeah, it was really good.
Well, I have just been doing hours and hours and hours of Unity.
Oh, are you a Unity expert now?
I mean, I'm like 20 hours past where we were in our last podcast, or whatever this is. But I would definitely not call myself an expert. But I definitely learned through the last 20 hours that we were not just holding it upside down or backwards. We were like inside out.
There's this great meme of it's a cartoon meme of this guy trying to drink a glass of water. He tries to like drink it from the bottom. He like tries it every which way except actually drinking the water. Is that what we were doing with Unity?
That was what we were doing with Unity. Yes. I mean, yeah. Whatever. We'll get into it here in a minute, but yeah, and I'm sporting my my vacation beard.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, yeah, no, it's good times. I even had to set up. It was so weird to set up for today because normally I have my setup for work, right? Because I, talk to people all day. That's my job. But my setup was all torn down because last time I used it was like 5 days ago, or 4 days ago, whatever it was. So, anyways, today, for those of you who haven't been watching, we've been building a Breakout clone. We've been learning Unity. We're in our like 6th hour of learning Unity, except for my little sideshow. And
excellent.
What's our plan today?
So I think last time we got to the point where we could design a level, but our level was a little messy. And we also found some ways in which the game wasn't very fun because the ball would get stuck and things like that. So I guess what we talked about in the green room, which I think maybe is a good idea, is to try to get to like a minimal fun product.
Yeah.
So make the game actually enjoyable to play.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because again, having spent 20 hours in Unity this week, looking at what we had created, it's almost sort of painful. Like part of me wants to just like rip it apart and start again. It would take like half the time. But we're not going to do that. We're gonna get this to like a shippable state. Hopefully this episode, and then maybe we'll go on to big, exciting, different Unity projects next time.
Sounds like a great plan.
So, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
To the Unity machine.
You said before that you had upgraded your version of Unity, which sounded like a dangerous thing to do, but it appears to at least open correctly.
Yeah, I think it's going to tell me that. You know what? Actually, talk to the viewers here for a minute. I need to pull down our screen so that I can share editing powers with you.
Oh, okay. Yes. So one of the things we talked about is right now when we do a collision in the game, we just add a bunch of vectors together and say that's the new ball velocity. But we're not really keeping careful track of the energy involved. So sometimes when you get a collision, we'll lose energy. And if you get a few of those in a row, then the ball starts going really, really slowly. And I think that's part of what's causing our some of our fun problem. So one of the things I'd like to do in this episode is in those collisions, keep track of the energy involved and then either conserve energy so the ball sort of maintains a constant velocity or energy as it's traveling around, or maybe even increase the energy by a few percentage each collision so that the sort of stakes raise and get higher and higher as the play of the level goes on.
Okay, we're back. So you should now have editing powers. As I said, I upgraded Unity. I made autocomplete actually work. When you spend 20 hours in this thing, you actually you fix all the things that were bothering you. It's amazing. There's so many good tutorials. Anyways, you were talking about how we're going to fix we're going to normalize our vectors and have our energy stop getting lost.
Yeah, so I thought we'd go look at where we're doing this collision calculation and do some energy accounting.
Let's just see the game here again real quick. Oh yeah, and we're not even using the Unity input system. Did you know there's a whole input system? We're like manually looking for the right. We're manually looking for the right keys.
Yeah, so you see how the ball is like really dragging right now? Like that to me is not fun.
Not fun. It breaks the whole game. It's also not clear that we need to be doing our own physics, but we did go down that route, so I think we can fix that.
I think we should follow through. And I think when we start our new project, we should take all of our structural learnings and apply them there.
Yeah. Okay, so back in our ball, I can delete this. You know how to write the word start. So this is we're doing all our collision handling in our ball, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think here we just want to record the energy before we do this force addition, and then normalize things afterwards.
So the collision knows this is the impulse.
Yeah.
I see. So what you want to do is you want to like record the magnitude of the impulse. So like float energy or magnitude of impact. You want like equals collision that impulse impact force sum. I don't know what that means. Go look it up. Impulse magnitude.
I'm just catching the rigid body here because.
Oh, because we keep pulling it. Yeah, my understanding is that really doesn't matter. But yeah, no, it's very common to have your.
Oh, I was gonna rather than I was just gonna take the energy, right? So our current energy.
What's our energy?
It's the kinetic energy.
Is that like an axis or on collision?
No, but we can just compute it. So we can take our velocity as a square magnitude as a property.
Oh, I see.
And its mass. But that's just a like physics formula for kinetic energy.
Sure. And then you're going to get the angle, and then just take that angle vector and multiply it by the you backwards out the velocity on the other side.
Oh no! You can do all this calculation and then normalize the energy afterwards.
I'm sure Unity does what we want to do.
Yeah, I think we're using like stone knives and bearskins here to do something, but like, let's just try to do a simple one, right? Like,
it is a weird mix of what Unity just does for you out of the box versus what it doesn't.
Why is this equal sign mad here? Oh, it's not mad for you. It's only mad for me.
What do you? So I'm sorry. What are you trying to do?
Well, what I kind of want to do is, I want to like my speed.
Mm-hmm. So the magnitude of your new direction vector
should be somehow. I want this to be the same before and after. So it should be my starting kinetic energy divided by my mass.
Do we need mass in this at all?
We can ignore mass. We can ignore mass because mass is just going to divide out.
Yeah, exactly. So then all this is then is
Maybe
just
just the velocity, actually.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to know your velocity, but you want the magnitude of that velocity. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
And whether it's the square magnitude or the magnitude, it's the same difference. But you also can get that from the collision.
That's a collision of the magnitude.
The collision has a. I mean, since we're doing this all from the ball side, but the collision exposes all this, right? It exposes both objects. It exposes. Anyways, it's fine. You're doing it from here. Yeah, and now you just. Yep.
Is that legit?
I think that's legit, although you aren't supposed to. So you're only supposed to touch. We're not going to fix this here, but you're only supposed to touch your rigid body in the fixed update, not in normal update. But I guess maybe collision enter is probably being called from that.
I imagine it's being called from fixed update because it calculates the collisions there. Does this work? I'm just curious whether this like compiles and runs.
This looks reasonable. It's not yelling at me about anything.
Oh,
What?
null reference exception.
Somebody doesn't have a rigid body. Why would we not have a rigid body? Does the ball not have a rigid body?
I thought I got it in start. Maybe the start didn't happen.
We were. All right, let's see. Does the ball not have a rigid body?
It had it before.
It does.
Why don't you try it again? Repeat the experiment, see if the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this thing of trying to catch the rigid body and start is a little bit too exciting.
No, that's totally normal. I did that in all my tutorials this week.
Okay, so what did we do wrong here?
I don't understand what's null.
Maybe the velocity is null?
I don't know how to use the Unity debugger.
We can just split them on separate lines. We can say
so the other thing we can do is we can do this: require component type of rigid body. Now it will yell at us if we ever don't have a rigid body. So like this can never fail now.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, that's not what I want. I want this one. Yeah, so it's like clearly pausing on error. What for? 19. Rigid body. What the frick?
So let's try moving this into here.
Is this ball behavior used by more than one thing? Like, is there something else that has a ball? Or like when we create a ball, we're always creating it from the prefab, I assume.
Mm-hmm. I feel like our start isn't getting called. Like that.
I'm pretty sure it's start and not on start. If you log. I wonder how many, like, could it be, are we creating more balls? Ball behavior start came out to the, interestingly, it only came out once, which is what we'd expect. Why is it happening? Is it a 2D rigid body? No, just a normal rigid body, and it's not.
I don't think we should get hung up on this. Let's just put the rigid body here.
Hi.
This is a sort of strange mystery.
Okay.
It works. Oh, I gotta spell it right.
Okay. That made no sense, but we'll see if it still fails.
The ball flew off the screen super tight.
So starting velocity magnitude, what is this? This should be right. So
okay. What is it? How do you do this? Like percent S or something?
Oh, does normalize actually change it or does it return the
We had
normalized vector?
that question before. It's void, so I think it's gonna.
Huh.
But this may be one of these things where there's a funny like getter. Like we've had this getter setter problem in Unity before.
Well, and I think rigid body wants you to manipulate it through its functions too. Like translate is a common. Let's see. It's like rigid body dot. Oh, I learned this earlier. Move position. Move rotation. I think move position might do what you want. I don't know. Let's see.
I don't really want to move the position, right? I want to manipulate the velocity.
Or you just set a new rigid body move position. What does this do? Moves the rigid body towards position. Oh, I see. That's not what we want.
I'm just curious to log more of these things. Like, we're gonna hit a brick. Let's do brick.
I think we're hitting bricks, yeah. We are printf debugging tonight.
We can figure out how to get the debugger to work.
Yeah, I don't think we'll necessarily do that on stream.
Okay, what does that do?
We'll continue to poke at the thing until we understand it.
It's science, right?
Okay.
Okay.
What do we got here? Speed.
Oh, so normalize did not normalize. That's our problem.
Okay.
So
I think we should grab the velocity out into a.
Okay. So like E equals rigid body velocity.
Then we can normalize it. Yep. And then we just set the velocity equal to v times speed.
Okay.
There must be another normalized that returns one. Like what happens if I do? Oh, normalized. Yes, this is the one we use all the time. So you can just do this.
Okay. That looks good.
So now
you gotta get rid of this last one here.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So let's fix all the rest of them.
Yeah. Sort of feels like it should be some sort of helper function to do these 3 lines.
Which 3 lines?
Adding the force and then normalizing to the speed.
So why are we adding the force? What is that? What are we trying to do? We're trying to
react to the collisions. If you bounce on a certain side, we're trying to move you to a certain angle.
And why do we need to normalize the velocity? Because otherwise it was losing energy?
Yeah, there are some situations where it would lose energy.
So we're working around some other misconfiguration of the physics system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible there's... You mentioned before the show that there's some sort of global way of configuring the physics. I wonder if there's some friction or something we can turn off that's causing energy to be lost.
There is. It's like in project settings, edit, project settings, physics. I have all this stuff.
What is it? Can we set the bounce threshold to 0? It seems like we want everything to be super bouncy.
Yeah. So this is I think what was trapping us before.
Yeah, that was our big problem. That's why we switched to our own thing. Go to sleep. I see.
I see. This is for stopping jittering, I assume. Okay, so we can do that. It also occurred to me that so one of the other many things that we're doing weird is that we're building a 2D game with 3D things.
Mhm.
And there's whole separate 2D physics systems and 3D physics systems. And so we're using the 3D physics system to do 2D physics.
Of course we are, because we we have very little idea what we're doing.
Even if we were in 3D physics, we need to fix this menu leak. We still, for example, could change the paddle box collider. So again, we want box collider 2D, not box collider.
Mhm.
But even so, where is it? Maybe it's the rigid body. Oh, it's the rigid body. On the rigid body, I bet our ball is rotating, and we can prevent that.
Oh,
You
that
can
sounds like
tell yourself which ways you want to rotate.
yeah. We do not want to rotate.
Constraints. So like you can freeze your rotation.
Yeah, why don't we freeze our rotation? That sounds like a great idea.
But again, like we shouldn't need to do this because we're like we don't really actually want to be in 3D.
We don't actually want a rotating ball.
Okay, and the other thing, now having done this for a while, that bothers me to no end is that we have no organization. I know I'm going to go off the tangent here a little bit.
No, this is great.
But I now understand why people do organize, because otherwise you just get lost. Of course, now that I did this, we're going to have to reopen all of these things in. This was probably a bad idea to move the scripts around. Just for my own sanity.
Will they remember their attachment to the objects?
They will remember their attachment to the objects. That's not the problem. The problem is this guy.
Oh, you can just close these tabs. That's cool.
What are these? Oh, these are our random objects. Why do we have... Oh, we have prefabs for these. That's right, because we're using levels for all these. Oh, that was another thing that I learned. So we have like our game over screen was like a different level.
Mm-hmm. Was that the wrong thing?
That's fine. You just also, it's pretty normal to have like a game over screen that's just hidden. You just turn it on. So like you can still have your game bouncing around in the background.
Oh, that makes sense. Because sure.
Anyways, whatever. I've learned. I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I have ever so slightly more idea than I did last week.
I'm impressed by all this knowledge you're dropping.
Okay, what were we actually doing before I started dropping hot knowledge?
Oh, we should say hi to maybe Hell 9000 in the chat.
Oh, it's Hell 9000. Well, maybe Hell 9000. Hey yo. Okay. We were trying to fix the fun.
So I'm hoping. Oh, the other thing we talked about is that right now the ball starts in a totally random direction. We may want to constrain it to start.
Always pointing down. Oh, is it still losing energy? I think it's containing energy, but that is okay. I liked your idea of adding energy to the system every time we bounce.
Okay, that's super easy to do now.
Ball behavior.
Just right up the top when you set the speed, just set the speed to speed times one.
Can't we just move these out? This one out?
Okay, sure.
Like, I think we just have a nudge factor, right? Which is what the paddle does. And otherwise the nudge is 0.
Okay.
Right? What is this? This is a vector 3, I assume? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Vector 3 nudge. Sorry, I'm refactoring.
That's cool.
Is vector 3 0 if tag equals paddle. I wonder if people use like auto-generated code for big Unity projects. Otherwise, you end up with all these strings.
There's also the death case, which is slightly different.
Well, the death case doesn't care if you bounce. You're still going to die.
That's true.
And so I think that's death. and then whatever. We just bounce off of things. That's what we do in our live. Okay, so we've made that simpler now. And then any bounce we want.
You can actually move this logic down here closer to where it's used.
Sure. And then we want speed equal to, what's it called? Speed.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And then what the real Unity kids do is they make all of these public float speed up. And then they set them all in the editors.
Do they set a default here or just not at all?
You could, but the default gets overwritten by the editor the first time you change it. And then once you've touched it in the editor always wins.
I see.
So this in part forces you. But yeah, we could set a default, right? Like, so 1.05.
I think that's going to be a lot, but yeah.
What do we want? Like speed up %, and then we can be fancy and clamp. Oh, maybe that's not right. There's a clamp annotation that I'm clearly not remembering correctly.
So you want to set that to 5% is what you're saying? To 5 instead of...
Yeah, I'm like, imagine viewing this in the editor.
Mm-hmm.
0.5. I don't know. And then it's 1.0 plus.
It's not really a percentage, right? Percentage would be that times 100.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Whatever.
I think so. Should we try that and see what that feels like? Or do you want to?
Yeah, let's try it. Why not? So you kind of want to like turn off the death wall for this kind of thing. We could make that tolerable, like a can die bool that we just turn off. I also know how to constrain this thing, by the way. I have to look up the code, but I know how to constrain it.
So I think this lack of fun is due to the starting angle. I think we should constrain the starting angle for the ball.
Hold. What starts it?
I think it's in the game controller when it adds the ball.
Okay. Yeah, so this is this is the speed that we're starting with?
Oh, HAL 9000 thinks we should port the game to VR. That sounds dangerous. You're floating in space and these balls are flying at your face. You're trying to hit them with a paddle.
Sounds amazing. I've been tempted to get a VR system, but I don't really feel like I need to drop a whole bunch of money on that right now. Okay, so this is vector 3 initial ball start speed, right? That's this.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is like float max ball start angle. Something like that. And then you need range minus max ball start angle plus max ball start angle.
Depends where the 0 is. If the 0 is along the x-axis, we may need to
yeah, but we can
minus 90 degrees.
So, what is wrong here? Non-invocable. Oh,
new.
This is not Dart.
More news. Also, I think you're missing a multiply right before. Yeah, right there.
Okay. So I don't know where the. I think it's. What are we rotating around? We're rotating around the Z, I bet, because that's the thing that goes straight out.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't need to change scenes there to just throw up a play button.
I'm not sure if this angle is quite correct, but we can still.
So what we really want is we want this between like.
What do you get 45? Like, because that'll give you a 90-degree spread. Well, why don't you set it to 0 right now, just so we can see where it's going to come out.
Like we could just do. You can edit the scripts and keep going, but sometimes you make Unity sad. Where did it come out? Oh, it went straight up.
It went straight vertical. There was a ball right there, a block right there. Why don't we try moving the blocks out of the way so we can see where it goes naturally? Like, you see that block that's right in the middle? Yeah.
Like, all right.
It's really that one that's causing the trouble. Yeah.
Okay. Sold. Done. What?
That 0 was a very funny 0. Oh, because go back. Our initial velocity vector isn't straight. It's at an angle.
Oh, of course. Yeah, so the way to do this is
we should just be a float, right? Like not a vector.
Well, you just do like vector 3 down times.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Just vector 3 down times 200 or something.
So this is float ball start speed, and you can be 100, sure, whatever. And then this is going to be times vector dot down times ball speed.
And now that we're smarter, we could just actually just set the velocity instead of trying to.
Oh, I see. See, this is one of the difficult things about hacking on this, is you have to like get in your mental headspace of like last week. How did you think the world of Unity worked?
Oh, we need to get the Richard Buddy.
Which we might have already done here.
Too much division.
And it bothers me that these aren't public, so I'm going to pull them up.
Maybe HAL 9000 has another comment that I think is funny and we should show the viewers.
After seeing how that's slowing of violence, oh my goodness.
Well, since you're a computer, HAL 9000, I think you're going to be okay. But the human beings among us are going to have trouble.
I think this would be fun. I think it'd be fun to build something in VR. I feel anxiety about where to buy on the tech curve. Like if I bought a VR system now, whatever, that's kind of what you do when you buy emerging tech. You throw it away in a year.
I'm feeling the speed is going to be like wildly wrong since we changed units. Yeah. 100 maybe like a lot.
100 is huge.
Why don't we try like 1? One is also too much.
I don't know what, like, how big is the ball?
I think more orders of magnitude.
But it's also a little weird that we're adding the velocity directly.
We're just setting its initial velocity. Are we still off by that much? What
are we doing? What were we doing before?
We're adding a force, which I think was totally not legit.
I'm not sure. Like, are you supposed to? So
There's got to be like a normal
In
pattern
most
for like.
cases, you should not modify the velocity as it can result in unrealistic behavior. Use add force instead.
There's got to be a pattern for instantiating a prefab with initial velocity. Yeah, they totally just set the thing for the initial velocity.
And is this is in units per second?
Okay. I mean, we just keep dropping down orders of magnitude.
Well, what is our ball? How big is our ball? Our ball is 1 by 1 by 1.
So 1 per second doesn't seem like very much.
No. So something funky is going on here.
Why don't we take out the rotation logic and just do vector down times the start speed?
Sure. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's 0 because I made it public. Let's speed up. Where did we set that? Oh, this is game controller. Okay. Let's see our game controller.
Whoa. It's 100.
Yeah, this is why we don't set these. What's this pedal? Why am I changing?
Oh no.
I did not mean to change the pedal height.
Pedal height is supposed to be 0.25.
It's at 100 because, again, I made it a public float. So
I see. So
Unity, by the way, has this really weird behavior. You can grab anywhere near to like set with this hidden slider, and then it also wraps your mouse, which is that's the only time in Windows that it ever wraps your mouse.
No, this is a thing in Windows. There's a special mode you can set the Windows mouse to make it do this. It's a very, very rarely used feature of Windows, but it's a legit feature of Windows.
So the other thing that we really to live the dream here is that we want to do this.
Oh, there you go. That's a reasonable number. But it's the initial speed, so it's not going to.
All right, so now we're adding 5%, I think, every time.
Yeah, I think you want to crank up your start angle to 45 degrees.
It doesn't seem like it's. All right, let's go back to fixing our.
Oh yeah, we got to put our angle code back in.
Where is it? Start speed. Yeah, right there. All right. And this times so much to fix. Okay, and then our ball start angle. Oh my god!
I would just type in 45, like. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with these really funky numbers.
Yeah, but I gotta live the Unity dream.
There you go. That looks like a 45-degree angle.
It's still a little weird. It feels like it's slowing down.
I think you need more start speed. I set the start speed to like 5. Oh, these bold means that it's the controlling thing for it.
Probably. I don't know. Oh, maybe I'm changing not the prefab. See, here again, I don't know that making your game controller into a prefab is the way. So I think that when I was doing that, it was telling me that I was editing an instance, not the prefab.
So there are 3 places to edit it. You can edit in the code, in the prefab, and in the instance.
Correct.
And woe be to you to figure out what the heck you've actually done.
Correct.
Got it.
And I have no idea how these things are serialized to disk. I assume they're in some nice readable JSON format or something. So there's also some prayer of diffing.
There's also some way of editing things while you're playing. There's also some level of not really editing it.
Correct.
For maximum confusion.
Mm-hmm. You are understanding the Unity. Oh my god. What? How are we doing this? Like,
I don't know. This reminds me of the very first project we did on this show. where we eventually just like tied ourselves into such a knot. They're like, okay, let's put that project on the shelf. Let's move on to the next project.
Which scene is it even?
The
It's the
menu,
menu
scene.
scene. So like, how are we loading the menu scene? Are we loading multiple of them?
I'm not sure. Okay, I think we should focus since we have 20 minutes left. And we should decide
focus
what it is that we want to accomplish in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah. How do we tie a bow on this?
So I feel like we should crank up the initial velocity a little bit and play around with it and see if these parameters are fun.
So like if I want, I can save this back to the original one, which is what I will do. All right, that's a lot better. Why did it slow down?
Yeah, we're totally losing energy. I don't understand how it's possible for us to lose energy.
So, oh. Yeah, so like I want to apply this one.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Okay. We're losing energy somehow.
So let's log and see how that can possibly be. So I feel like the start and end speed should be the same. So let's log the...
You could just be rounding error.
But it's changing by a lot.
It does seem to be. Well, and we also should be... Oh, we don't have our speed up being applied.
Here we do. It's applied right here.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try playing a little bit and see if we can replicate this slowdown behavior. Those numbers are all over the map and totally crazy.
So that looked like it sped up. That looked like it sped up.
Right, but how are those numbers so totally different from each other? I would expect this number to just be the same all the time. Maybe we're misunderstanding the magnitude. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
No, I totally see. Why is that? All right, so we're getting it from... We're getting it from the rigid body of the ball.
do we need to tell Unity somehow that we've handled the collision and that we don't want any more processing to happen on this collision? Or we did that by saying that our ball was kinematic or something?
We did that by level 2. I think so. Normally, I think we would make things that we don't want to collide with be triggers, which we clearly don't have. We clearly haven't done. I don't remember what making the ball kinematic does.
Can we go look at the ball prefab and see what we did to it? Oh, we didn't say it was kinematic.
Well, we may not have saved it. We may have done that and then, because it's a prefab.
Okay, try saying it's kinematic. What does that do?
I don't remember what that did.
Is there help? Rigid body.
It's just sitting there. I don't remember what that does. We did talk about it is kinematic. I don't remember why.
If is kinematic is enabled, forces, collisions, or joints will not affect the rigid body anymore. The rigid body will be under the full control of the animation or script by changing transformed out position. Kinematic bodies also affect the motion of other rigid bodies through collisions or joints. I see.
I see. So it's really more for static objects. So like your walls could be kinematic. You don't want them to go bouncing around.
Mm-hmm.
Is that read of that? Because it does affect other rigid bodies. Is that correct? Like we could remove the box collider, or we could set the box colliders to triggers for everything else. Although we'd have to change where we're handling this from on collision enter. I worry we got ourselves so twisted in knots attempting to hold Unity upside down and backwards that I don't know how to salvage this project.
we could just call it a like project wipe and like move on to the next project.
Well, I learned so much, but like my brain is now like plugged in completely backwards from where it was last week. And so like attempting to
I could go in for that. Like, I don't think we have to end every project with a grand success and victory dance. Like the purpose of the project for me was to learn a lot, and I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like you've learned a lot by what you're saying. So, I think we could view that as a successful project.
I've learned so much. All right. Well, if that's the case, I don't know. There's a lot more to say about this project. Adam and I are going to figure out another project to start next week.
I think before we close the book on this project, I think we should make the world do something totally crazy. So I think we should fill the world with bricks and make them all explode and go bananas. Does that sound like fun?
Sure. I'm just trying to think about. I kind of want to up the speed and turn off the death.
Yeah, okay. So let's turn off the death and like turn up from 5% to 10% and see what happens.
And then the question is like, how quickly can you...
We can take those locking statements out. Like,
yeah, sure. We don't need to. We don't know why we're losing, but we are.
It's okay. We're now no longer playing the game of Breakout. We're playing the game of Unity.
Okay, so we also need to edit our game controller. No, it's in our ball. We do the. Where do we do the go faster?
It was right there at the bottom.
Speed up.
10%. Whoa, these are percentages, my friend. Like, okay, 15%. It's really a lot.
All right, so
here we go.
But we're so much better at losing energy.
What is going on?
Crank it up.
Crank it up.
84% every collision.
Oh my gosh.
This is great. This is how Breakout's supposed to be played. You can't die.
You can't die, and the ball goes super duper fast.
I wonder if there's why is it not going even faster? Like, that doesn't look like it's accelerating to me.
You think it's maxed out?
I think it's maxed out. I suspect that here again, in fighting the physics engine,
we've done something horrible.
Well, I suspect that like if we look at the physics settings, I bet there's like a max speed or something.
World bounds.
I don't know. That's so odd.
I think you need more bricks.
So we could add a thing that just spawns a brick. It would take us a little bit of typing, but we could make a thing that spawns a brick. Or we could just build more bricks.
More bricks.
Duplicate.
Yes.
What did I do?
You pasted them right on top of the old bricks.
I picked up the light somehow, I think. Oh, these are like okay, gotta choose the right tool, gotta move these up, gotta duplicate. Why did it pick up like the wall? No, it didn't pick up the wall.
Yes.
There you go.
There we go.
Where's the yellow? Unity will do this sometimes, by the way.
Did we lose the
Where'd the
ball?
ball go?
It was going so fast it flew outside the universe.
That's possible too. Unity will do this sometimes where like the lighting will get all screwed up. What did it?
You must have duplicated the light. I think you have 2 lights.
Oh, I have 2 cameras too. What? How is the? Why did we make our light a prefab too?
Why not? We had the prefab hammer. We just hit everything with the prefab hammer.
Yeah, it was like the one thing we knew how to do in Unity.
Okay, the speed up is totally happening now, by the way. I think we should turn it down.
Where is it? It's going to space somewhere.
Well, the speed up, an 84% speed up will make you go exponentially faster. Quite fast.
Maybe it's like only applying in brick collisions.
I think some of these bricks are like doubled. What is happening? Why do we lose energy?
Oh.
So when I took improv, they taught me to do this thing, which is you go like this. You say, again. And what this means is like
again.
Like you've gotten your scene into like an unrecoverable state, and you just have to like start the whole scene again. Like give up on the fact that you've established your character as like, you know, a person who only sleeps and like can't hear any fun things that are going on. Just like try again.
Yes, I like that. I remember you also, because I think I was living with you when you did your improv classes. You would talk about yes and. Yes and is totally key to improv. Yes and. I try to have a yes and attitude just about life.
The other one I like is go into the cave. So you get into these improv scenes a lot where you're standing outside the cave and you're talking about how exciting it's going to be in the cave, and what they tell you just go in the cave. Like.
So again.
Okay, so I think we should declare this project a failure. In the
you mean
sense
an
of
amazing success.
Well, I think it's a success for us personally. I think the thing we created itself is not a fun game.
You don't think but that's $1 billion on the App Store?
I don't think so. But that's okay. Like it's not everything needs to be a success. But I learned a ton, and I had a good time doing it, which are the like 2 things I was mostly trying to get out of this.
I learned so much, but I think possibly more from watching Unity YouTube tutorials, which I can strongly recommend. I don't know how we learned anything before YouTube, as a slight aside, because today I had this marvelous moment where I was walking, listening to my podcast about dark matter, of all things, which I know nothing about. And then I sat down to turn off my podcast so I could turn on my YouTube to teach me about Unity. And it was just this great moment of that, like, how did I learn anything before these things existed?
Why not do both at the same time? Can't you put dark matter in Unity and have it like mysteriously disrupt your physics, suck up all your energy so your ball doesn't go anywhere?
I think that is the problem. We have too much dark matter in our current Unity product.
That's totally it.
It must be buried in the settings somewhere. Anyways, this was a blast as always, Dr. Barth. As we alluded to earlier, we're going to be starting something new next time. So send us your feedback. Tell us what the heck we should do. And as always, a reminder.
I like we have that as like a preset banner. Just we just need to pull it out whenever we need it.
Well, the third banner I got is this one, but that's no longer relevant. So
that one is a little outdated, but yes.
A little outdated. Anyways, it was wonderful to see you. We'll see you next week, Thursday, our regular time. None of this Wednesday business.
Sounds great. See you next week.
Take care.
Bye.